social media, you may have seen tons of influencers and content creators show their everyday morning and nighttime routines, and sometimes you'll even see content of them doing a routine for a different season of the year. You'll see them with their fall morning routine, their winter night routine, their summer skincare routine. And personally, I think routines are starting to get a little bit out of hand, and I believe that having a seasonal routine and constantly changing it up isn't completely necessary. Hi, I'm Ilana and welcome to my channel. So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like no one is really talking about how seasonal self-care routines are kind of unnecessary and why you don't need to change your routine every single season. Keep in mind, these are just my thoughts and opinions, but go ahead and subscribe down below because I think you'll really like it here. So I want to talk about just my personal opinion on like why I don't change my self-care routine every single season and why I don't think you should either. If there's one thing that I've especially noticed from seasonal self-care routines, a lot of it has to do with their skincare regimen. I see content creators always saying like, this is what I do for the fall in the morning for my skincare routine. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so unnecessary. You do not need to change your skincare routine for different times of the day per season. Sure, maybe in drier seasons, you may need to add moisturizer in, but I think you should honestly have moisturizer regardless of what season it is. And it certainly doesn't need to be a jillion billion steps. I will say my morning skincare routine does consist of 5 products. I use a toner, vitamin C, and azelaic acid, and I only use that up on my upper lip just because I do have a little bit of melasma that I'm trying to fade out. Otherwise, I wouldn't even touch those products. I use a serum, a moisturizer, and sunscreen. So, okay, wait, I think that's actually 6 products. But I don't use the azelaic acid and the vitamin C every single day. So those are some necessary products that I do believe like everyone should add. And then in terms of my nighttime skincare routine, I wash my face with a cleanser, and then all I use is like retinol cream and maybe an acne spot treatment when necessary, and that's it. 3 steps. Nothing too complicated. I don't think you need to change your products brand by brand by every single season. It really contributes to overconsumption, which we're all trying to be more mindful of. I just don't find it to be necessary that you need to change your skincare routine depending on the time of the day for every season. To me, it just feels really extreme and a waste of money in my opinion. And just so we're clear here, I absolutely believe that you should have a self-care routine in the morning or in the evening or both. There's nothing wrong with having a self-care routine. The thing is, your self-care routine is already going to be so customized and personalized to you. And I just feel like the more you keep changing it based off a specific season or a month or whatever time period it is, I just feel like constantly adding more steps into a self-care routine and changing it based off the time of the year and adding on to it is only just going to cause you more stress. That's why I believe you should really stick to what's important within your self-care routine and keep it consistent and simple, and make modifications when necessary, but don't change the whole entire routine because you feel like you need to, and that's what these other influencers are doing, because it's honestly a lie. And then the last thing that I want to touch on is that people need to remember forming your own self-care routine, whether you want to do it in the morning, the evening, or both. Remember that this is a habit-forming concept. You want to get in the pattern of doing the same thing again. Remember that whole spiel on consistency. You're going to feel much more in control of your life when you stick to the same routine, and it's going to really help you transform your life. And as I mentioned, only make modifications or adjust something if you believe something isn't working for you anymore. But I firmly believe that all of the elements in your self-care routine should be staying the same. If there is something that you need to adjust, do so, but do not change every single element, because then I just feel like you're defeating the purpose. So now that I've shared my honest opinions on why I don't have a seasonal self-care routine and why I think it's not necessary for anyone else really. I wanted to share my honest self-care routine for both the morning and night, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you all that. So first things first, one of the most important things to my self-care routine is pouring myself a cup of coffee or making coffee the night before so it's ready to go in the morning. Coffee is so important to my morning routine. I love coffee. I can't live without it. Starting my day with breakfast is so important to me. I make a pretty decent sized breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day for me. If I don't eat breakfast first thing in the morning, I will faint or throw up. I don't get people who can't eat breakfast first thing in the morning. It's an absolute must for me in order to function throughout my day. After breakfast, I do my spiritual routine where I'll light my crystal candle, which is such a cool thing that I recently bought. I'll light some incense and cleanse my space with it. I'll also cleanse my space with some gray sage. There wasn't a lot of smoke coming out of this, but this also just kind of clears impurities around my space. And then I start journaling in my manifestation journal. I do this pretty much on the weekdays only. And then after I do some regular journaling with some affirmations and what I want to manifest, I will then go ahead and do my daily tarot pull, and I will basically shuffle the cards until something pops out of the deck. I'll do it over again, and there you see I drew 2 cards for that, so that's what I ended up doing. And then I will go ahead and reflect on the cards that I got, and then I'll journal my thoughts on the 2 cards that I pulled, and I'll typically take a crystal and do some chakra healing based off the cards that I got, which is a really nice self-care concept. And then if I do have time in the morning, I will do some stretches or Pilates on the floor. It really just depends if I have enough time in my morning, because sometimes I can go really slow, but doing some light impact work like Pilates has been really helpful to my morning. Then I get into my skincare. I'll start with my toner. Like I mentioned earlier, I will do my vitamin C and my azelaic acid regimen that I talked about earlier, and I'll put that on my upper lip that you can see for my melasma, as that's something I'm kind of insecure about and really trying to fade out so my skin looks a lot more even. And then after that, I will basically go in with some moisturizer. So I'm using this one by Glow Recipe. It smells really nice and it's super creamy and soft and gentle on my face. And then after moisturizer, I will go ahead and take my SPF sunscreen by Tula. I love how glowy this makes my skin look, and that's basically it. Okay, let's get into my nighttime routine. So after I eat dinner, which I didn't show, but I will eat something small, I'll go ahead into my moon diary journal, and I'll basically just journal a thought that I have on how I'm feeling throughout the day, and basically just journaling my overall thoughts and how I want to connect to the moon. This will change a little bit at night sometimes, depending if it's a new moon or a full moon, because that will definitely add on to my nighttime routine. And then honestly, after I do my skincare, I will go ahead and just lay in bed and watch TikTok videos or YouTube videos, maybe a movie or a TV show before bed. That's just how I really like to unwind down. Some people don't agree with looking at your phone, but that's what works for me. Well, there you have it. That was my self-care routine for both the morning and evening. I'm curious to know what you think. Do you have different self-care routines for different times of the day, or do you change it seasonally? If you do change it seasonally, I'm really curious to know what makes it different and why you feel that's necessary. Keep in mind, like, I am not against self-care routines. I personally just don't think it's necessary to change it every single season, especially your skincare routine every single season. But again, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. And if you liked this video and you thought you could relate to it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And with that, I'll see you in my next video.